This is chapter 36 of Beyond Exile at the British Museum. Frank has arrived back in London from his tour of the South Pacific. We are Frank, in our possession with our wallet and passport. Adidas soccer bags that are full of Chinese art treasures. When we disembarked the plane in icy Denmark, we heard a crack. We don't know yet what that means. Doesn't sound good. And we're in London Heathrow Airport, and the new title at the British Museum. And we see the taxi driver, Graham, and he was our driver earlier during the Highgate Rumba and the Three Names of Village, the Three Names of London. Graham asks Frank, "Welcome back. Aren't you one of Tony's friends?" "I don't know what you're talking about. Just take me to the nearest pub. Just take me to London." That doesn't sound like Frank's in a very good mood. It doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't work. Just take me to London. So just take me to London. If you go east, Tony's flat. He's not there again. South is the mansion that's gated from the Highgate Rumba. And west takes us to the Green Park pub where we last saw in person Illich or Carlos. There's a new exit southwest. The British Museum of Natural History. This is scene 105. And here at the museum there's Dr. Omar. Look at him. And an older gentleman. He's the museum's expert on antiquities from the Far East. Speak to him. "So what have you brought for me today?" "Well, let's take our soccer bags full of goodies to the good doctor. And when you do that, now we are Dr. Omar. So we're looking at this young American, Frank, and we are suddenly presented with all of this treasure from the Far East. The Turkish blue vase, look at that. And then some more Taoist art pieces. "Well, young man, of the 21 Chinese pieces you wish to praise, 20 are attractive country works of peripheral interest. On the other hand, this shattered Ming demon dog vase would be worth in excess of £2 million, if intact. I've seen one other example in my 30-year career. Its actual restored value I would place at about £5,000. And, anticipating your question, to get it professionally done in Great Britain would easily cost £8. And now we are Frank. This has got to be more than a little bit disappointing. So we'll take our treasures back from the good doctor. Put them back in the soccer bags. No one else sees them. And when we load up our soccer bags, Dr. Omar says, "Be seeing you." I love this British humor we have here. In any event, we can leave the museum. And that takes us to another chapter called the Kensington Gardens. We'll continue on right here. This is chapter 37 in Beyond Exile. The Kensington Gardens. Let's head back to Tony's again, see if he's there. And at Tony's flat, he's back. So we look at our old friend. "Friend, great to see you." "It's great to see you," or I could use a drink. No? Maybe Frank's given up drinking. "It's great to see you. How about a stroll through Kensington Gardens?" "No, I'm really tired," or "Yes, it would be great to catch up." Well, since the chapter is called Kensington Gardens. And now Tony has joined us in the inventory, and now We're no longer Frank. We are an observer of these two lads walking through London. And from here, there's a new direction, northwest. Scene, we're London, but we can go northwest into scene number 106, which is Hyde Park. From here, we can go west to scene number 107, the Kensington Gardens. And here are the two guys now resting in the gardens. If you look at Frank, you look at Tony. It's simpler than I thought, says Tony, walking the breezy June afternoon through the Kensington Gardens. And Tony speaks. One becomes a singularity by encouraging singularity in others. That's it. That's all. Conscious being is conscious action. It starts by guiding our children and runs to 11 generations of service. The first Abrahamic rule of society was correct vengeance, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, so the law of the apparatus became an eye for a tooth. The second Abrahamic rule of society was love the other as you love yourself, so the law of the apparatus became hate the other as you hate yourself. These retooled Abrahamic laws revert human nature and crush human pride. Conscious society is unspoken, unwritten, unpredictable. Singularity comes to others in the free course of human events, like a wave arrives on the shore or the wind bends the sequoias. Apparatus law is Abrahamic law, perfected by slaves to weaken the intent. Today the apparatus has made perversions into institutions, the state of fear, the homeland of security. The individual becomes a poet, a philosopher, a terrorist, a monster and more in defense of personal liberty. It's not about the workers, it's not about the people. Revolution is the individual, manifesting his destiny. Oh, Tony's been busy, it would seem. We look at Frank. Well, says Frank, as they find an empty bench. Frank's reply. You have the utopian zeal of a confirmed misanthrope, but do you really think singularity theory can overcome semi-conscious conditioning? Where is the Athenopolis? Hidden in the Greek islands? Floating somewhere in cyberspace? How do you select your citizens? How do you deal with dissent, with infiltration and subversion, with military attack? How can you assume the international banking octopus and its nation-state satraps will allow you to thrive? Could the Athenopolis simply be the name of your contempt for semi-conscious man? And our two philosophers continue to pummel each other. Of course, says Tony, as they rise and resume walking. Nietzsche called him the last man, because he lives for his latest comfort. The apparatus richly rewards slaves entertaining slaves, slaves killing slaves. It excites the sheep to act like wolves. It excites the lemmings to act like jackals. It excites components to unplug their competition and exalts all the degenerate passions. Yes, we must be discreet in our discourse, but we must also be bold. Athenopolis will survive the apocalypse in a strategic chrysalis. Its first phase is as a holding company of intellectual rights, where writers, artists, inventors, and other creatives contribute their royalties and patents to uncover the city's economic needs. In the second phase, emissaries of Athenopolis serve as peacemakers for decaying nation-states at war to broadcast the value of singularity theory. In the third phase, engineers installed solar power islands on the seven seas to generate electrical energy and provide for the city's defense. Yes, Athenopolis is well armed. We have the world's best scientists, the extraterrestrial technologies reverse engineered in Siberia and Nevada. Athenopolis is the model stimulating 1,000 new cities, militarily superior to the apparatus. It's all about focus. We're not Winstanley, content to raise pigs on St. George's Hill. We demand the fall of the apparatus. We demand future history. We demand the Earth in all its unfolding beauty and complexity. Athenopolis is the quantum city that remains small as it expands into a singular universe. Yes, maybe you'll have to travel more, suffer more, to understand these contradictions, Frank. Oedipus was in exile until he solved the riddle. Odysseus was in exile until Poseidon grew tired of the game. Oedipus is Odysseus, Frank. Everything outside is inside. The Mediterranean Sea is the fluid enveloping your brain for all its humor and adventure. Your journey of self-knowledge is a tragedy. And the peaceful illumination of semi-conscious society is a technical impossibility. That's why we fight, why we demand conscious society. We start small and we stay small, self-sufficient, self-defined. We never supersede the measure of man. We never repeat the cancer of the nation state or the corruption of the corporation. We start small and we stay small. Aristotle refused to follow Socrates. He mastered his love and hate of the state. He went beyond exile. He transformed his will to consciousness into world history. Through Alexander, he brought justice to decadent Athens. Through Alexander, he introduced philosophy to the disconnected world dream. Through Alexander, the world became Greek, Aristotelian. Such magnificent intent. When the apparatus falls, we'll need this accelerating intelligence, this natural will to power, because the second problem of philosophy is projecting projectors. Every singularity imagines a world, imagining him, imagines a cosmic wife loving him. But while he's building the house, she stabs him in the back. She calls a lawyer. His hammer suddenly sounds hollow. She wants it all now. She wants what the other wives have. She wants a semi-conscious man. All conditioning is projection. All projection is conditioning. The semi-conscious man is a hanging judge in the court of hypocrisy. He convicts others of his own diseases, his superficial calculations of self-interest, his desperate and tasteless devolution. He convicts individuals of the atrocities he commits. He makes them substitute their deaths for each dying cell in his body. The semi-conscious man is a concentration camp, dressed as an amusement park. The semi-conscious man is an executioner in a sharp business suit, and there's no finer semi-conscious man than a semi-conscious woman. She's the trustee. She's the informer. She's the survivor who owes her equal place in semi-conscious society to the cynical political genius of the apparatus. At the first sign of turbulence, she goes for the throat, the cash, the legal judgment. This is free market democracy. She's liberated from her father, from her husband, from her lover, so she can work 3 jobs like a male slave and give her babies to Moloch. The semi-conscious woman is the backbone of fascism. Let her go. Her conformism destroys her husband, her family, and finally herself. Her babies become orphans suited to the nation-state, claimed as grease and fertilizer by the apparatus. You can thank the ancient instinct that enabled you to leave Aaron, that whispered to her, "We are at war." Remember, one becomes a singularity by encouraging the singularity of others. This is the revolution. It's absurd, that's why it's great. It defeats the statistics of probability. It's impossible. That's why the semi-conscious woman is the only road to Athenopolis. That's why all roads are crossroads, without direction or distinction. The semi-conscious woman becomes conscious, like a wave arriving on the shore of her body, like the wind bending sequoias in her mind. Really, Tony. So, does Frank have anything to say to that? We look at Tony, and with that, he's gone. And we are Frank in the Kensington Gardens. I think Tony might have been hanging out with Illich Ramirez Sanchez, but we don't know that. But it would appear that Frank's philosophy differs from Tony's, as Frank still believes in God as the infant and we are the parents of God. We head east, back to Hyde Park, scene 106, back to London. Well, of course, yeah, Tony is gone. Now let's go back to Edwin's. We can go here. And there's the butler. And there's a letter handed to us from the butler. Mr. Glendover, Master Edwin wanted you to have this. And here's a letter from Edwin, handed to us by the butler. Mr. Glendover, so sorry, friend, but I can't have you at my estate. This will help you well on your way back home. Cheers, Edwin. And in the envelope is Edwin's gift. It is a one-way airfare to New York City. And it would appear that Frank's journey is taking him back home. He takes Edwin's gift, leaves the mansion. And with this, a new chapter will begin. Next time you're in New York. So we're going to pause the game right here, as it appears that it's a bit chilly in London. And Frank may need to embrace his role as an American citizen very shortly. Thank you for watching these 2 chapters in Beyond Exile, and I hope you continue with this journey.